in my studio, I have with me a very special guest, someone who has uprooted himself many times to be what he is today. And he is none other than Ashish Kumar, who is the current Chief Financial Officer of SpiceJet. Ashish has over 26 years of experience in a variety of industries. He holds an MCom from the University of Calcutta and a BCom honors from St. Xavier's College in Calcutta. He is certified chartered accountant, cost accountant, and company secretary. Ashish has received many awards for his exemplary work. To name a few, the CFO of the Year Award 2018 by CFO Forum, CNBC TV 18 Award for Risk Management and Hospitality Sector, and the Golden Peacock Award 2017 for Risk Management. And he joins us today on the Payal Nanjiani Leadership Podcast to talk about an incredibly important topic: fly into uncharted territories. Ashish, welcome to the Payal Nanjiani Leadership Podcast. It is such an honor to have you here with us today.
Thanks, Payal.
So Ashish, you and I were talking before before we started off with this podcast, and I have read so much about you. You have over 26 years of experience, and the biggest thing that I have learned from you is the way you have developed yourself and how you've uprooted yourself every time. So tell us about your journey, because I have heard interesting things from you, and I would love our audience to know how you started, where you are right now, and how you have been uprooting yourself every time to be what you are today.
So, in fact, I started my academics from School of Don Bosco, and I was actually had no choice but to take commerce as one of my academic course, and then of course I did my CACS and ICWA. I started to work for HPCL, working in Calcutta, Mumbai, and Chennai, and that gave me a lot of skill set in terms of SOP and processes and working with multi-city, multi-people, and multicultural company. After working with the SPCL, what I was wanted to challenge myself in something in a different territory and took over a role which was totally unknown in Reliance and took over my risk management audit, then moved on to Sislon, which was a renewable energy, then moved on to real estate in Tata's, and then moved on to his hospitality, Interglobe, and then headed the whole Interglobe group, and now CFO for SpiceJet. I think my inquisitive to learn was something I wanted very differently to do every day a different thing. Even for my work, I want to understand that I'm very uncomfortable doing the repetitive things. Something
Wow.
where it gives me a mental agility to learn something different things. And probably my journey has been very consistent and disciplined. Certain things which I do, and that is very important. I would say that my four pillars of strength to achieve my this journey is starts from my physical fitness, which I think that's very important for us. Mental
Wow.
fitness in learning and agility of other stuff. Emotional quotient is very important. So emotional fitness is also important in whatever role we play. And I believe in spiritual fitness as well. So the success and money comes by these four pillars if you keep adding value throughout your journey in whatever you do. Just one, I was doing with my complete passion, and I never thought that at one point of day I would like somebody would invite me to speak about my journey. I just simple feel that even today, out of my humility, that I'm just doing my basic job, and hopefully that's what I love to do, and that's what my passion is.
Wow. But I liked what you said, Ashish, that you find you're very uncomfortable in repetitive work, which I think not everyone would feel that. A lot of people like their comfort zone, but you've constantly been challenging your comfort zone. So how do you find comfort in change? And like you said, I feel very uncomfortable doing routine things. So how do you find comfort in change?
See, normally, I'm most of my last 10, almost 1.5 decade, I have been taking up a role, a sort of a CXO. And I don't believe that, I know people are known by their designation. What I believe that people are known by the action they demonstrate. And for me, we all know change is the most constant factor of our life. But to me, I would like to have new horizons which is constantly challenging, which has opportunities, And one thing is very sure, that there are no opportunities without challenges. So that's
Mm,
very underlying factor of any other things. And success would never come if you're in a comfort zone. It also helps me to meet and interact with so many professional people across the globe by changing organizations, by changing different industry, and interact. To me, it's a passion and which I love and enjoy in what I do. I also remind myself that it is a necessary part of a growth and development by going into uncharted territories. You may
mm,
be uncomfortable at first, but it often leads to new opportunities and experiences. And I try to focus mostly on the positive aspects of change and remind myself that it's an opportunity to learn and adapt. And keep reminding myself that change is a natural part of a life and something that everyone has to go through. Someone has to go through in a different aspects, but I think professionally, personally, or be it anything. And one has to be very open minded and willing to embrace the unknown. That's very, very important. And last not but the least, most important, that we should surround ourselves with supportive community of people who can also help you in having this positive mindset and go through the transaction.
yeah.
Normally people say CFO. I would say CFO's roles have changed. They are chief performance officer, they are chief ownership officer, they are chief agility officer. I
Yeah.
think those traditional CFO accounting mindset has gone.
Very right. And I think you brought that up so well that now the change has happened so much that you can change your designation, your roles accordingly. And you yourself, when you and I were speaking earlier, you said how you were in Calcutta, moved then Mumbai, and then Europe, and then you're in India now, right? So that
That's right.
entire journey of experiencing different territories. So I think you're such a great person to talk about flying into uncharted territories because you yourself have taken those challenges in your life. And even another thing that you had mentioned earlier was you just went into doing BCom, like BCom honors, and when everybody else was into science or engineering. I think that's where everything started from. Is it that seeing that the difference that you're making versus what others are doing?
That's right. In fact, when I started taking up CACS and costing doing together, it was very
Mm.
difficult because even the exams used to coincide. And let me tell you, morning I gave my costing exam, and afternoon I gave my company secretary exam. But I took it.
Oh my
So it
goodness.
was it was two different subjects, two different locations. I had to do a Reiki where the exam is going to be, so I manage my logistics.
So you're always flying into uncharted territories then.
Yeah, probably it came naturally as a personality to me. I mean, I never thought of, but something, I think that inner energy is something I believe that people have to bring to themselves. And
Yeah,
it's mostly to do, and I will again go back to the basics. So I have minimum sort of, have, fitness for physical is very, very important. I think
mm,
that gives you a lot of energy. And if you have the energy, I think that's something very important, the rest of the things. So physical and mental fitness, I would say one should really focus on themselves. And I always tell my team, your health is the first important element in your
yeah,
life. And it's
very
not
right.
only about physical, it's about mental, it's about emotional, it's about spiritual as well. And there's nothing beyond that. And that gives you complete clarity and there to lead any vulnerability in life, whether it is
Very right.
professional or personal.
Yeah, but how do you get the time? I mean, in the role in which you are and with your constant traveling, I know you and I were supposed to connect one day before, and at that time also an immediate travel came up. You went there for a few hours and came back. So with all of this, how are you maintaining that health, the spirituality, and everything?
I think it's very consistent, persistent, and disciplined. I make sure that I do a lot of things after I get up in the morning,
Mm.
and
What time do you wake
so
up? That's something we should know. What time do you wake up?
6 a.m. in the morning. I'm
Wow.
trying to even in Delhi winter, even in Delhi winter.
Wow.
In fact,
That's
this morning
amazing.
we were celebrating a Republic Day, and one of the gentlemen was asking, "Do you think it is safe to jog in this winter weather?" I'm like, "It's absolutely safe. You should just cover yourself."
No, I can understand that fear, because from where I am in North Carolina, we do have a lot of snow and very, very minus degree temperatures. And that's the time when I have to push myself out of the comforter, reduce the heater and get out. So that's why I asked you, what time do you wake up? So, okay, so you said like you wake up at 6. So how do you get the time to complete all this health things and the
No, it's only
spirituality?
1 hour. If you just spend 1 hour, I do a mix of my gym, yoga, and jogging. And one thing I make it sure that at any cost, I need to spend 1 hour for myself in the morning. And that's a mix of
Commitment.
either jogging, yoga, or it's a commitment. No,
Yeah,
in fact, if I don't do, I don't feel hungry. I think something is missing in my day's
I
life. And
agree.
that happens if I'm traveling. And that's happening. So in case if I go to international airports, so they have a long walkway. So if I reach early, I'll just go walk 2, 3 circles and just go and take my seat in the flight. So that at least I've done my for the day.
Yeah,
And my
yeah.
stopwatch keeps saying minimum 5,000 steps I need to do, and that's good enough for all of us, which is
I think
5 kilometers a day.
yeah, and I think you're so conscious about doing this, that even if you're traveling, because I travel a lot too, and this is something I'm picking from you is that even if you're at the airport, you can still keep working on your health, and you can still make sure that you're walking, so that when you go in the flight and you sit, you don't feel guilty that hey, I was traveling, so I could not keep up to my routine. So I think that's a wonderful piece in your role that you are coming up with, but like you said, leaving your comfort zone and entering into new uncharted territories is natural for you, but it's not for many. So, what have you seen in your experience as a leader? What usually keeps people in their comfort zone?
I think one important element I see is that probably there's a fear of failure. To some extent, it could be lack of confidence, insecurity, the having limited perspective on and not aware of the opportunities, because you also have to know what are the opportunities exist
Mm,
according to your passion and your skill set. Maybe lack of motivation, and most important is a negative mindset. I
mm.
think people get
Self-talk.
comfort. Yeah, self people get actually our mind are not trained to listen or do negative things.
Mm.
We are only a positive, have only a positive mindset, and that's why you see globally journalism thrive on probably
Yeah.
negative
Oh,
sometimes.
yes.
Not
Yes.
not all the time, but sometimes. So, so I think what's important when people start working in organizations, they start creating their own territories,
Mm,
and they are very happy to do repetitive things because they have mastered on that on a day-to-day routine tasks.
mm,
And I'll give my own example. When I was in HPCL, I was heading a function which was known as product exchange, and
mm.
it has huge volume of 5 to 10,000 crores, almost a month in those days. And I was doing extremely well, and I was even awarded a chairman award. But and everybody in the company used to call me for any issues in that particular, be it the IT side or the finance side. But 3 years later, I realized I'm not doing different things. I'm being just doing a repetitive things, supporting somebody else's problem and not
Ah,
creating opportunities for myself. So the learning which I thought that it comes with experience in the first few years, I thought that is coming to a slogging. And sometimes people are happy with the ongoing chemistry in the role within the organization. They don't dare to lead vulnerability for the new role in different organizations. So it's quite important that, and sometimes societal expectations are also an issue,
mm.
that,
That's
how
true.
people should behave, what is acceptable, which can
Yeah.
lead to people pressured, insecurity, I would say fear of losing job. So probably these are the things, something may create, I would say, an obstacle, but there could be these factors or fear of rejection, and sometimes there is an additionally the perception of risks. And let me give you my own example. When I was taking the role of a CFO SpiceJet at September 2022, and everything is there in the media. I did not tell what was spoken in the media about the
Sure.
aviation sector. They've gone through the rough patch, but
Yeah.
one thing I believe that it's a listed entity, and there's a challenges and there are opportunities. And I have taken this role not to do something on the finance and accounting. I have taken the role that okay, there's a livelihood of 50,000 employees and many stakeholders. If I do something different where it is today, probably that's a legacy I can create at least for the livelihood of those stakeholders. and
Mm,
and and of course it's an uncharted territory for me as well. And I believe that it is complete doable because you have to have a clear set of goals what we are going to do, and that is very very important. And every time I take a role, I again read that book, the first 90 days in my office, even within Interglobe. when I got transferred from one role to another, I just had a reread of that book of first 90 days in office, so that
Mm,
I set myself very clear expectation what I'm going to do. I
mm,
think that is very important in terms of, when you try to take some role which is in different company. And to me, it was a different sort of a business. It was a different role, different people, and very large organization. And hopefully things are will shape up. And only time can say. I don't want to say today, but I probably time will speak.
No, people find it very difficult to take that step, like you said, they find it very difficult to take that step and move out of their comfort zone. So, what are some of the things you feel they can start doing so that they can also fly into uncharted territories? Like you said, fear of failure, and it's always going to be there. So, what can people do so that they get the confidence to fly into uncharted territories and to innovate and try out new things.
So I think as you go for a CXO's role and higher up, probably your specialist role and technical side of the role is not that important. What
True.
is important that what sort of a relationship you have developed in that niche, how you can maneuver the uncertainty, and what sort of a clarity you have on that particular role going forward. And you have to identify what is the most critical problem at
Mm,
that point of time for the organization, how you can add value. And one has to very very clear that okay, these are the expectations and these are the role one should have in
mm.
place. Probably that is most important thing for going to uncharted territories.
Yeah, I
And
think people are
lastly, I
not
believe that
clear. People are
people are
not
not clear.
clear, yeah, of what they want, first of all. So then obviously you're going to feel afraid of everything.
That's right. And one has to do a bit of a homework before getting into a different territory,
Yeah,
be it
very much.
society, and these days you have everything on the net. We are all
It's
privileged
more
to have every
confusing.
information.
It's so much more confusing. You feel this is what I have to do, this is what I need to do. The net is confusing us much more.
And I think one should keep continue to read. It
Mm,
adds lot of as we say dopamine, or when you jog,
yeah.
probably reading has some sort of a and one and you will see if you start reading, you will start connecting, and
Mm,
then and when you start connecting, you believe that okay, these things are doable. And every great invention on earth has happened by a very small phrase, because if Google is so popular, what people say is the fastest search engine and nothing else.
mm.
So that's something, man. I understand that the Domino Pizza's best practices was copied by Shankar Netralay. How to do an surgery in 30 minutes by copying a process of Domino Pizza.
Oh, wow.
So
That's amazing.
and the driverless car was not made by Ford or Nissan. It was made by Google.
Yeah,
So
yes,
you know
yes,
things are evolving very fast. Things are changing very
exactly.
fast.
Even
So
McDonald's has this systemized process, which is globally they would make their burgers very quickly in the same way. So it's more process driven.
absolutely.
Oh, okay. So, what mistakes have you seen that people make when they try to move out of the comfort zone? So, like one you said, they are so unclear; they don't know exactly what to expect of themselves and what do they want. What other things would you add that could help them so that they don't make those mistakes? Because a lot of time we hear comfort zone, step out of your comfort zone, we try it and then we realize, oh my goodness, this was completely horrible, it was a mistake, I shouldn't have done this. What causes that types of thinking?
No, I keep saying this that if you want to go fast, go slow.
Hmm.
So whenever you're taking some role into an uncharted territories, we have to be patient and consistent, because change takes time and effort. It's very important to be patient and consistent in the pursuit of whatever goals we are trying to do. That's one point. Secondly, one must take support. I would say, and one can decide what, because support is very very important, and that could be helpful to step out of one's comfort zone. It could be difficult initially, but it is very important to have a support system in place who can help you through the process. And everybody has some sort of a mentor or a guidance. You can take a professional one or personal one, whatever ones. and a very clear goal. We should not be start jumping from the day one and coming with prescriptive solution without a proper diagnostic approach.
Mm.
So normally that's something, and one has to very start small. We can't make big changes, which could be
Yeah.
overwhelming on day one. It's better to start with small, with manageable steps and probably baby steps with very clear and specific goals on the role one has.
Mm.
And probably one has to also have the whole ecosystem, because a new role, if it is a new city, a different country, and a different company, different culture, you have to create a different chemistry. and
Yeah.
and and, and that's, I think, in order to have proper chemistry, one has to reach out to people. They have to meet, whether it could be personal or
Mm.
professional, or it could be online or offline. One has to keep doing that. And that makes things more easy, because you have an environment which becomes supportive. And all roles are business enabler, probably, most probably, even at the CXO or at any level. I believe with that complete ownership in mind, if you start doing a business enabler role, trying to going one at a time with baby steps, the probability of failure is very, very minimalistic. And every organization, you will have some sort of environment which one has to navigate. Whatever because the culture, the processes, the systems will vary, different business, different organization, different culture. And probably, one goes from a very systematic organization, and when you go
Yeah.
to the another organization, you find there's a lot to do. That's
Well,
fine, but no comparison. Oh, it was like this and here it is like this. I mean,
yeah, I think
whatever you have.
that's
Yes.
true. I like that what you said, comparison.
Yes, no comparison. You have to just
Yeah.
forget the baggage and move on.
Comparison is something I think we all do. We then start remembering the old job, the old boss, and the old strategies that we were using, and then we start regretting that we should have not done that. I just love that advice that you gave. You've shared so much of your wisdom. What would be your one piece of advice to our listeners who truly want to succeed and want to leave their comfort zone?
Your attitude decides your altitude in life is very important.
Okay.
And from the day we are born to the day we die, there between B to D there is something known as C. Is the choices which make are very important for a career.
Hmm.
And that is something, when you go for leadership role, I think one has to lead by example, by demonstrating the behavior and the values expect from your team, as well as be open to feedback, be authentic and true.
Hmm. Right.
And all these are part of an attitude. I think, that's I would just repeat that our attitude decides our altitude in life.
Very right. And I think that's what helps you to fly into these new unknown territories. So, Ashish, as we come to the last segment of this interview, it's a leadership rapid fire.
Right.
So, in this, whatever comes first to your mind in one word or one sentence, all from your, I know you've been speaking from your heart all this while, but this one's going to be really quick so that we don't give you much thinking time in this.
Sure.
Okay, so you ready? Okay, so I have these questions here. The first one being the biggest leadership myth you've heard.
Leaders are born and not made.
We don't have born leaders, right? They're all created.
That's
One
right. That's right.
one thing that motivates you even today to get off your bed and do what you're doing.
Sense of purpose, creating positive impact across.
Hmm, wow, okay. What's your favorite part of being a leader?
It's how I can influence and ability to inspire others.
Okay. And I think you are a great inspiration because even with what all you said right now throughout this podcast series, I mean, there is so much of inspiration. You could really feel you're speaking from your heart, whatever you would like to share. Which superpower would you choose? Invisibility or mind reading?
Mind reading, probably, because it helps me to understand the thoughts and intentions those around me, be it employee, colleagues, or competitors.
I would love that too, just to know exactly what everyone is thinking and then merge it accordingly to my thing. Your biggest leadership challenge.
To listen to everyone's opinion and come to a mutually beneficial solution.
I think that would be everyone's, right? As
That's
a
right.
leader. if you could travel back in time and change one thing about the corporate world, what would that be?
Changing the mindset to prioritize long-term sustainability and socially responsible business practices because it has a lot of positive impact on the corporate world and society as a whole. And then not 10 years later, we talk about sustainability.
Hmm. So we usually do the work and then later on we think about sustaining the things of how we, and it's too late by then.
That's right.
Wow, that is nice. Ashish, you've been a wonderful and an incredible guest on our podcast, and I know how busy your schedule is with what you're doing at SpiceJet. But with my heart and soul, I really want to say thank you for being a part of this podcast and sharing your insights and your experiences for our listeners, so that each of us can grow and be the best that we can in the world. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Pat. It was pleasure to interact with you. And probably that in a lot of things I came from my heart and mind, and it was never captured anywhere. Probably I would listen to my own podcast as well.
That would be wonderful because you really you really had so much of ideas to share with us. But I know being the limited time, I know we could have gone on, but I have had some incredible discussions with you, and I truly mean that. So thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
And this one's for our listeners. This is Ashish Kumar and Payal Nanjiani wishing you loads of success in your career. God bless. Thank you.